All right, so I'm back on phenolic spacers again, part two. So if you saw the last time I talked about this, I was looking at a 1-inch spacer that I had. There was actually a trick flow, and I think I got a good deal on it. So the more I thought about it, I thought that it probably wouldn't clear. So I ended up picking up a 3/8 inch one instead, just to have. And my original thinking back in the 1-inch one was trying to maximize runner lengths to maximize low end power. I also have a 1-inch. This was really cheap too. Nice piece of billet. But a 1-inch throttle body spacer for the trucks. Obviously, it would have to be ported out. I never bothered because I don't know if I'm running it yet or not. But here's the thing is, I decided on this stuff, and it's still a small percentage, and I was going to measure the actual runner length from at least the plenum to like maybe up to the bowl, and then to the head entry to have the intake separated, so not just total runner length. But so here's the thing, without going totally through phenolic spacers, basically what this is doing is it's cutting down on the convection from the cylinder heads into the lower that's heating up your IAT, and acting as a barrier. So your plenum can have a cooler IAT or cooler, denser air charge, so more available power. But here's the thing with that. A couple of things. Number one in the van is clearance, so I don't even honestly know if a 1-inch would clear. I feel like the plenum would maybe be that close to touching, at least where all the throttle body linkage is on the plenum. So that's why I went with a 3/8. The other thing is, like, even though this is a performance build, by the way, this is actually a Holley System X intake plenum spacer is how you would find this if you have a truck. Funny enough, the System X uses basically the truck lower, and from looking at it without going on the inside, is it still has the dog legs, which I assume if you were to like look or probe the casting of it, it's probably very similar to what a ported truck lower would end up looking like. But I just thought that was kind of amusing, because then if you happen to be doing an F-150 or E-150 and you want a spacer, you want to lengthen your runners a smidge like this, they have that. The trick flow one, I swear I got a good deal on, but this one came to like $50, and it's just a generic. The trick flow one like came with 2 gaskets, a really nice hardware kit. This one still came with hardware, but so I said, what the hell, I'll pick it up anyway. But here's the problem. And I know, like, oh, performance, like, oh, why don't you just delete EGR? I kind of wanted to still run EGR and take advantage of the system as it's intended, just to increase some fuel economy at cruising speeds. From an engine builder perspective, there's a lot of downfalls to basically putting soot back into your engine potentially. So that's the only thing. The other thing, if you're gonna run a spacer to consider, is I have brand new, like I bought a brand new tube, and I have a valve here, but I'm gonna try to set this up so you can see a potential issue here, or an actual issue that needs to be remedied. So let me get this plenum on, and I'll be right back. All right, plenum is attached with the 3/8 inch phenolic spacer, and the EGR valve is on the pipe. But you can see what happens now if you were to line this up with a spacer is there's a fitment issue. So my plan is basically to leave this attached at some point, leave the valve attached. Well, beforehand, probably slip off the fiberglass here, and just take the torch, heat the pipe up, put some welding gloves on, and try and bend it into position. So it's really a question of, if you're using an old style EGR system, are you heating up the IAT? Is it worth the bother of a phenolic? At some point I may decide to delete the EGR, but I want, full advantage, like full fuel economy and, you know, keeping the plenum a bit cooler. But in another video, I want to talk about like cold air intakes, but more specifically routing an inlet to underneath the truck or toward like an air dam type system. But I figure as long as you can cut some of the convection off from the combustion chamber, it's still better than nothing in the long run. So I probably will end up running it as long as this fits on